Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Just Women Talking Shit with your host, Jacqueline Cotton.
I'm really excited, though, to get to know you more and to get to know more about the brand. So, hello, everybody. This is Jacqueline Cotton with Just Women Talking Shit. And I want to tell you a little bit about today's guest, Athena. So, Athena is a sex expert and advisor at the company named Arya, an intimate wellness brand that's shaken up how I think couples connect. It's over 4 years, right? Over 4 years of sexual wellness experience in the industry, you help create and curate what are called customized scenes, right? Okay. And coaching that bring novelty, excitement, and deeper intimacy into relationships, which I'm super curious about as a married woman in today's age. She's all about breaking the routine, ditching the shame, and making connection feel fun again. Which, if you are in a romantic relationship or if you've been in one for an extended amount of time, you know that's really important. So, if you or your love life could use a little spark or even a lot of spark, I really do think this episode is going to be for you. So, I love Athena has already got her drink. I'm going to sip on some water. It's so funny. It's so funny we're talking about this today because today was one of the days that we have 5 kids total.
Oh my
It's
goodness. Bless you.
and today is one of those days where we had the house to ourselves. So this is a good topic, and I feel like I'm going to learn a lot because we had our little what we call a family meeting, and and I feel like there's a lot to learn, especially at my age. I'm 36.
Oh, I just turned 35.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay. Is the dirty 30s something that people reference to? Because I'm feeling it.
My 30s have been the best time of my life. I will say, by the time I was done with my 20s, I was exhausted. I'd gone to college, I'd moved across the country, I had married, I had bought a house, I'd had a kid, I'd gotten divorced, I had bought another house, and like by the time I hit almost 30, I'm like, I am being exhausted. Like the 30s have to be so much better, right? Like
Yes.
I love my 30s. Every time I talk to somebody who's reaching their 30s, like there's other people on the Arya team who are late 20s, and I'm like, just hold, your 30s are amazing. Like I feel like you finally just don't care. And you're all about this owning yourself. Like all those things that you was like cringy or that you kind of gave up. You're like, no, I like those things and I don't care what anybody has to say. I am going to own it. I feel like I've gotten my sparkle back in my 30s, that I had lost a lot of it in my 20s. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's because I just own the space that I get to live in every day. And of course, working with Arya and like just talking about sex and how to make other people's sex lives amazing every single day of my life, it brings so much joy. It just, so much spark.
We call that, or at least I've heard it called this, getting your pink back.
Ooh, I like
Kind of
that.
like a flamingo. I think that's the whole
Yes.
principle. But I so resonate with that whole 20s. 20s, it was a dumpster fire for me. Like you're talking
I
about
get that. We call it gutter fire.
gutter fire. Oh, well, dumpster because it was just, that's,
You
oh
just wheel
man.
it away. Just wheel it
Yeah,
away. Let it
just
go.
everything seemed to, it was, I guess, how it was supposed to go, but I just resonated with that. And then, yeah, I was just having a conversation with my husband. I was like, I think I'm about to just do it all. I think I'm about to do it all. I'm gonna go ahead and do the stand up comedy, and why not try to act? And I was like, I'm reaching my Tina Fey era where I just am like, I
Yes.
don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do it all and go for it. So
I
it's
love
funny
it.
that we're talking about that. But I love that for you. And sitting around and talk. I'm not saying you sit around, but that's, I guess, an expression. Sitting around talking about sex all day. That sounds good.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fun.
Amazing. We
Pretty
were
fun.
having we were having a concierge meeting yesterday. So I am part of the concierge team. So as you had like talked about, we help develop these curated scenes every month. So basically the elevator pitch, on Arya is let us do the thinking for you. Like, let's make sex and intimacy so simple again. There's no reason in today's world with all the technology at your fingertips that like you need to overthink anything. And so you and your partner sign up, you both like take a quiz and decide. You give us like a little peek into your desires, and maybe it's stuff you haven't even talked to your partner about, because it can be really hard sometimes to bring up those secret fantasies that you have, or maybe you like a little more dirty talk than they've been giving, but don't really know how to ask for it. And so we take all your little desires that you've kept, inside, or maybe you've talked about, and then we take what your partner's into, and we basically come up with these super customized monthly experiences where it's not just like items, you also get just tons of content. And that's where I come in. And I write all of those guides and content and conversation starters and themes, ideas. And we work with the concierge to make sure that they're like really hooking you up with what is going to make intimacy so simple. And then, of course, you do get items. But that's, to me, like, that's not the coolest part. The coolest part is actually having someone like whisper in your ear, these are the things to say, these are the things to do. Touch her here, touch him there, spend some more time there, avoid there, and just have a great night without having to overthink it. Like, we literally tell you everything to do. And I love that. And so yesterday, my little tangent, we were sitting in our concierge meeting, just, what are people interested in? What's the feedback been? And it's so fascinating to me just to find out what people are interested in. That's like the nosy part of me. And then and then bring it to them. Like, for instance, so I'm Midwest based. I live in Nebraska, and so a lot of our members come from the Midwest, because no matter what people think about the Midwest, you got some kinky folks. You got some folks who love sex in the Midwest, and they were looking at, okay, what are the Midwesterners looking for? What do they want? And one of the main skills that kept coming up was oral sex. And I was like, yes, please, like, let's get way more oral sex up in here. Like, oral sex and dirty talk were very popular for the Midwesterners. So I love it. I just, every day, I feel so lucky. Like, I tell people all the time, I just feel really lucky that I get to live this every day. So you do all the things that you just said you were going to do.
It's got to be rewarding, because for like, I joke about the dirty 30s and whatnot, but a lot of just now getting into figuring out the whole sexual aspect, what do I like, what do I not like, is deeply rooted in a lot of shame for me, being in Mississippi,
Oh my gosh.
religion,
yes.
church, stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Midwest thing.
So this feels like a good tool to have access to for people who are like having trouble bringing it up, or trying to explore that, but it's, I don't know, it's still, you can tell I'm kind of uncomfortable talking about it in a sense, because how do you bring these things up, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I find this interesting, very interesting. So with you being an expert, I have some questions that I
Okay.
feel like will go hand in hand with the company, but also give my audience some like good,
Real life.
tangible, no
Yes.
bullshit advice. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I love it.
Like, people who are like, look, I'm trying to get laid, or I'm trying
Tonight.
to do this, and like, yeah, tonight, how the fuck can we help them?
Yeah.
Through, your expertise, and then the company as well. So, with you having worked in sexual wellness for 4+ years,
Mhm.
I'm curious, do you have like a general aspect or an answer as far as why couples lose that spark, and what actually works to help them get it back?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just routine, especially, people who cohabitate and have cohabitated for a long time. It's so easy to like fall into that roommate sort of vibe where you're just kind of like circling around each other. And you're a little bit more than roommates, you are like snuggling to watch your favorite shows. You're bringing each other maybe a coffee in the morning, but like barely a step up from that roommate vibe. Just really like satellites, just kind of like going about your motions. And I think those daily habits and having that monotony is really what ends up ruining a lot of people's intimacy. And then they get into this rut where it's been so long, now I feel uncomfortable to actually bring something up. Or especially for women who crave a lot of physical touch, who want that sort of foreplay and that sort of physical intimacy, but may not want penetration every single time. Well, then they become afraid that, if I just touch my partner, automatically they're going to want penetration, or automatically, we're just going to go straight into the act. And so then they stop touching in general because they're afraid that if they just touch just a tiny bit, it'll lead to something that they weren't really wanting. They just wanted physical, emotional, intimate connection. And I think those are kind of the two main reasons why we lose those sparks, is the monotony, but then kind of wanting different things in the bedroom. And when you've been in those long-term relationships, your interests change. Like what I was into in my 20s, or what I was willing to put up with in my 20s, is way different than what I'm into now, and what I'm like willing to put up with in a partner, or what my expectations in a partner. I've found that, like, as I'm in my mid 30s, I have a lot more expectations around intimacy and connection and that kind of emotional intelligence. And that's a huge part of my intimate life now, more so than it was, at the beginning stages where everything's just hot and heavy and you're like, just fuck it. We're just going to fuck all
Yeah.
the time. Like
Yeah.
once you kind of get past that, like, initial physical spark, now it's okay. We need that connection. We need that intimacy. And how do we find that? How do we have these communication, these talks again? People just stop talking about things. It's,
Uh-huh.
how was your day, and how was the office, and what do we have going on this weekend? Do we have anything planned for Friday night? I have a golf tournament this weekend. It's all these different things that, and then you lose yourself to, if you have kids, that's not only do you lose yourself just within your partnership, but then you add the layer of, having kids around, and especially small children. You lose those intimate partnerships, those really intimate times where you're not just talking about work, kids, and your weekend plans and who's doing dishes tonight and what are we
Yes.
cooking for dinner. Like,
Oh man. You mentioned something about how, like, the physical touch aspect,
yeah,
but it leading to somewhere. I had a little bit of an epiphany. I'm like, that is me. In the beginning, I was definitely very hands-on,
yeah,
but and I just experienced a few minutes ago before we got on the call, I was having a really hard time getting into that headspace. And so I was trying to be very verbal about, just rub me,
yeah.
like maybe like a massage. But there's this disconnect with women and men, I think, whenever it comes to like initiating. So, like, for me, I don't always want it to lead to that. And I just
Yeah.
had that realization that maybe I don't. Now, there is the kid aspect, but whenever it comes to actual intercourse, like, maybe I don't look forward to it as much because I'm not getting the like affection and the physical touch
Mhm.
that I want, that kind of warms me up and makes me feel closer to my husband. So
Yeah.
that was really freaking helpful. Um
Well,
woo.
that's one thing I love about what we do at Arya, because this is something that's so important to me. And maybe because I'm working there, it's like rewired my brain too. Is
Mhm.
we just don't focus on penetration. We don't focus on like sexual intercourse. Every single scene that you get, you don't have to have sex. Now, a lot of people want to have sex and they end it with sex, but like the main focus is all that foreplay, all that connection, all that touching, We have a whole scene about massage. So if erotic massage is something that you're interested in, and like there doesn't have to be a happy ending with the massage. The happy ending is you guys got to touch each other naked and for like half an hour or more. And how often is that happening anymore? How often are we just touching each other without the pressure, to perform? Because I will say, especially for me and maybe from a women's point of view, we do need more of that. But men have a lot of pressure too to perform.
Oh, for
And
sure.
as men get older, they may struggle with erectile dysfunction or have some hormone issues or, all these different prostate issues. And if they can't perform intercourse or penetrative sex, they may also withdraw from having any sort of touching because they think only sex is penetrative. And so we're really trying to like reframe it and rewire people to understand that like sex is not just penetration. There's just so much more to it. And if every single month you open all your items and you read all the guidance and you don't actually have sex, but you have like an amazing time just reconnecting and touching, like I've won my day. That's how I feel.
Awesome. So what would be like your most actionable step and tip here? Would it be communication? And if so, like how do we bring these things up?
Yeah. So I am a lot more physical. And so my actionable step for a physical person is to be naked around each other in a non-sexual way. And so I feel like sometimes we get into the like, okay, I get undressed, quickly put on my pajamas, or quickly take off my pajamas and quickly get dressed, and we're just not naked around each other. Shower together. Like, there is just nothing more reconnective than like getting naked, showering together, feeling your body, physically touch without the expectation of it going anywhere else. So getting naked is always and if you're uncomfortable being completely naked, get down to just bra and panties. And they can just be, in their undergarments, whatever they choose that to be. And just holding each other and being close and doing the lengthy hugs, but skin to skin. We need more of that skin to skin contact. So that's my actionable advice for the physical person. That would be for me. And then my advice for somebody who really just needs kind of an intimacy reset, get an intimacy deck. So those cards, I know they sound kind of like hokey, but get something that's going to open that communication where you don't have to actually think of those things yourself. And then it's kind of off of you. Like, it's not me that's asking these things. It's not me that's wondering these things. Like, that's my card. I have to ask. I have to ask this thing.
Yeah.
And having some other way to talking is the number one, like, helpful thing when it comes to sex. Communication, open communication, and feeling like you have a safe space to talk with your partner and not feel judged, and also be that for them. Now, talking in person can be a bit of a struggle. I definitely struggle with expressing some of my feelings in person. I'm a very like internal processor. I have full on conversations in my head before I ever get to a conversation. And that's probably why I lean into writing so much. But so I am a bit of a feelings texter. Now, you should not argue via text. Do not argue via text. There's so much that can be taken out of context. But sharing like a desire, or I really loved the way you did this last night and I'd love to do that a little bit more. Or my favorite line is like, I had a dream. I had this really sexy dream that like we were in the closet and you like swatted my ass, and like that was so sexy to me. Now maybe you didn't really have this dream, but now you can share this desire, this kink with somebody without feeling as weird. Again, you can kind of put it on like my dream self and your dream self. We're really into this thing, and I think we could do it in real life. Those are kind of my openers when you're a little, because it is hard to share these
Yeah.
things and to talk about these things. And so if you have a way to like, it wasn't me, but really it's
Yeah.
me.
No, that makes sense because there is a lot of, I mean, if you were to just watch like the movies and it goes back to freaking, Disney, it's like supposed to be this little fairy tale and nobody tells you that there are kinks and that you'll be afraid of being kink shamed
Yes,
and all these things. So it's like, well, when the fuck do we talk about this? And you do, you
exactly.
you hold it inside and like there are things that, you were talking about fantasies earlier that sometimes you are just worried like will my partner see me differently,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not a matter of not being enough. It's just like, man, that sounds pretty good right now, just one of those fantasies. And I'm gonna blame porn on my end. I think I started watching porn too early, but I've got a million things that I'm like, oh, that sounds fun, that
Yeah.
sounds fun. So getting into the age where you're comfortable talking about that.
Oh yeah. And people are way kinkier than they let on or are
Yes.
willing to talk about. So we had done like a huge survey, over 100,000 people, and like 1 out of 3 people wanted to try something kinkier in the bedroom. Like that's wild to me. One of our number one skills that people come to Arya looking for is restraint play and bondage. And I mean, that's just warms my heart, because I want people to like really own their kinky self and to realize that if you're thinking of it, guaranteed a million other people have thought about it,
Yeah.
and you are not alone, and maybe your partner has thought about it too, and you just won't know until you ask. And they could be grappling with the same thing, like, oh my gosh, I've always
Yeah.
wanted to like spank them, but will they think I'm weird if I spank them? And like we've never had any sort of like physical stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm not dominating, like I'm not a dominating personality.
Hmm.
And that's okay. You know, I always say like, for especially we're having this whole you know fantasy book talk resurgence right now. I see all the reels of like the guy with his hand over the door frame and like all of this really commanding presence.
Hmm.
And we have a lot of women who are like, well, I want my partner to be more dominant and like in the bedroom and really take control. And I explain it as there's a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. And like dominance is all about being that assertive, commanding presence. It does not mean aggression. You can be an assertive, take control partner and never like physically do any pain pleasure play at all, because some people just aren't into that. And so it's learning the nuances of what you guys are into, and then really where your boundaries are. And another easy actionable, I'm all about the let's figure out easy actionable ways to actually make this happen, because I want
Hmm.
your listeners to like fuck tonight. um
I love it. Let's fuck tonight, y'all.
fuck tonight is a yes no maybe list. And so that's basically, there's so many of them available. We even have one through Arya, but there's so many. And basically it's like a whole list of like every single play style you could think of, every single sex act, anything. And there's yes, no, maybe. And it's like, then you just check yes to this, no to this, maybe to this. Let's talk about it. Yes to this, no to this, maybe to this. And do it the one time, each fill it out, and then make a point to do at least 3 of the where you guys overlapped in the yeses in the next month. And then do another couple, and then 6 months from then redo it. Redo your yes no maybe checklist, because it could change, and you could have tried something in the maybe list and you now know it is in your no list. Like, we are never going to do that again. But at least you tried. Like the
Yeah.
novelty of that, and just the novelty of filling out a yes, no, maybe list, maybe what kickstarts your sex drive that evening. Just talking about these things.
Okay. I like all those. I've never thought to do a yes, no, maybe list. I like that. That feels like homework tonight. I'm curious because so when we talk about, when we say the word kink, I feel like
Mhm.
that's becoming, there's a lot of people out there normalizing it right now.
Yes.
But I'm also curious because you've mentioned things like, spanking and I guess having physical products, bringing those into the bedroom. However, I'm curious, like, are people coming with the fantasies of introducing other people? And if so, how do you guys handle that? Because
Oh,
I foresee that being something that's like, how do you bring it up to your partner? Because some people I feel like might feel they're not enough, but I know what it's like to have a fantasy and just want to know, is that a possibility? So when it comes to bringing other partners into the bedroom, I feel like the poly life is becoming more widely known and accepted. I've done some research on this. Ethical non-monogamy, stuff like
yes,
that.
yes.
I've been hearing that thrown around, and so I'm curious um, if that is something that couples are coming to you with, and if so, how are you navigating that in an ethical
Oh,
way that makes both partners feel seen and heard?
yeah, definitely. We get that request a lot. Um, it is the one of the number one fantasies here in America, of having a threesome. I'll just keep it simple, a threesome. Um, that does not mean just because you fantasize about it that it's something you actually want to act out in real life. And so, kind of a soft core way that we will bring it to a couple who is just starting to explore this is a little bit of stranger role play. Is pretending, not just in the house, because I think, in my opinion, stranger role play is really hard to do in your own environment. It's, planning a place where you two can meet, where you don't come together, you get ready separately, and then you act out this whatever scenario it is, just meeting them at the bar. Maybe you had a date that didn't show up and then they're sitting there, and or like you're reconnecting as like high school. But let's start with like turning up your relationship a teeny bit, spicing up your relationship just by acting out this kind of stranger role play to add this fantasy of having another person. Cuz just because you fantasize about having another person doesn't mean you actually want another person. Like, you can be so happy and so grounded and so well in your relationship and still have these fantasies of different people. And that is a really simple, like low key, easy way to bring that in. And then physically, you can bring in the thought of another person. So with women in particular, you have maybe they have a male, like two men, one female fantasy, which may seem like a lot in real life. I think that's a awesome fantasy. I love this fantasy. It's one of my fantasies. I think it's just amazing. Do I want it in real life? I don't know. Like, that seems like a lot. that seems that seems like a lot for a person. And
I was gonna say
so,
a lot of work.
like a lot of work. Yeah, can I just lay there and you both like just pleasure me? And so then how you simulate this with your partner is you bring in, some items. So you explore like double penetration. You bring in they have like sleeves that you can like put on your partner that feel, looked, do different things. They have everything from like really realistic to like ultra fantasy. When I get into like, when I say that if you've thought about something, there's other people that have thought about it, there is so much you can do in the fantasy realm. If werewolves are your thing, you can find a werewolf sleeve and you can make that happen. And so there are ways to make these, and then for the male perspective, you can have, those sleeves that feel like different vulvas, or I think most people know them as like pocket pussies, which I think is such a strange word, but and there are so many of them. There are ones that are like automatic. There are ones that vibrate. There are ones that, you can sync up with erotica. There are ones that you can sync up with your partner. You can do, so there are so many ways. But if you've done that and you're like, no, I still want to like bring in a third person, you have to talk about it. Like the amount of communication that goes into bringing in another person into your dynamic is an insane amount. And I will say, you are going to talk about it more than you're going to do it. You are going to, and maybe just talking about it really turns you on, and that's fine. But you will talk about it. You will talk about your boundaries. You've got to make sure that you're both into it. Like, this isn't something that they're just doing for you. This isn't like, okay, you did spanking for me, so I will bring in a third person for you. Like, those do not equal. You both have to be really, and then you have to decide, what will that third person look like? Will they just be a person that you bring in to have fun with and then like they go about their day? Or will they become, this is where that kind of will they become a decision maker within your relationship? And that is probably a boundary that not a lot of people who are having threesomes go into. It's totally okay to like, find that person that chemistry just clicks. You bring them in, you have an amazing time, you have talked to them, they're okay, you've maybe hung out. I always recommend you hang out socially a couple times before having them in the bedroom, and really like get to know them as a person. And then this is just my advice, is find a neutral place to do the meetup. Do a hotel room. Don't bring them back to your home. Don't go to their home. Find a neutral place, so that way it's kind of a really isolated experience. It won't infringe upon your space with your partner, or their space with maybe their partner if they have one, or whatever. And so how Arya does this is mostly the softer stuff, the stranger role play, the physical aspect of like feeling like you're bringing in another person. Our concierge will talk through case by case, couples or individuals who are messaging us and like, hey, I really have this fantasy, and then we will provide them on like the different sorts of conversation starters, how to broach it. We have different resource guides on how to have these conversations with your partner, and then like good steps to take. But we don't have like a threesome experience. Like, we're not going to send you a third person to do this with.
Thank you. I was going to say, thank you for spelling that out so that listeners know that. Oh my
Sometimes
gosh.
we'll get like a request, like, we want a threesome, and I'm like, I can't send you a person. Like, I just can't.
This isn't mail
But
order brides for threesomes.
but I will set you up in the best way possible to go out and do this. And honestly, what I think a lot more couples should be doing, if they are really into this kind of exhibition and being around other people, is join a lifestyle club somewhere where you guys can go in a safe space where there's other like-minded people who like to have sex in front of other people, who like to maybe make out with other partners. Lifestyle clubs are not all about swingers. So there's, just because you like the idea of making out with somebody else or having somebody else watch you and your partner, do the deed, doesn't just automatically make you a swinger. And those clubs are so safe and so nice. And I think, in my opinion, I think they're a way better date night than like dinner and a movie. I would so much rather like go to a really safe, like full of consent Nobody's going to touch me without my consent. Nobody's going to do anything appropriate. Everyone's there for the same thing with the same sort of like acknowledgement. I would rather do that than like go sit at a bar. I feel safer. So,
I've,
and I think
I've
it's
never been to
spicy.
one.
They're so
Never been to one.
much fun.
They're fun. Good.
Yes,
Good
they
to
are.
know. What does one Google to find one of these establishments?
Yes, I would say Instagram has a pretty good, like, don't, you might end up ruining your algorithm, but like,
Create a new account.
but there are so many respectable places, that people can do these things. And once you really start scratching the surface, we had talked about, you know, all these fantasies and kinks and how you can just go to so many levels. Um, you're just going to realize how regular everyone is. Everyone's so regular. I mean, it's just mom and dad next door who are, you know, at these things because they just need a way to reconnect and have a sexual experience that's a little different than what they've been doing for the last 15 years. And they may never actually play with another couple at all. They just go to these things to have a different experience and then to be like, you know what? It's pretty cool that we went to this. Like that's really out of the box for us. So, yeah, I definitely am a fan.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, like I was saying, I have to create a new account, Instagram account and don't want to fuck my algorithm up. Like my kids look at my account and Mom,
Yes. Oh, and that's one thing that I always say, like that I love about what I do is we'll send you everything so you don't have to fuck up your algorithm. If you're curious about this, we'll send you a guide. You don't even have to search for it yourself. We have everything that you need. Like we'll keep it contained within our little app and you don't ever have to like ruin your algorithm with all of these maybe things you don't really want to see on a regular basis.
Okay, so tell me about the actual Arya experience. I go to your website.
Mhm.
What does that look like if I'm interested in
Yeah,
starting this experience?
definitely. So we have a pretty, like, I don't want to say lengthy because it's not lengthy, but a really well researched, well backed onboarding quiz that you and your partner go through. Now, you can do it without, like, you do not have to have your partner go through it to make an Aria account. That's a question that we get quite a bit is like, if I just want to do this on my own, like maybe I just want to surprise my partner with like some skills, or they're not interested, or they'll just read it off my phone. Um, then like you don't need your partner to go through the onboarding. Now I will say I couples who do it together and each have their own account and have done both the onboarding flow and have figured out, you know, their likes, dislikes, erotic personas, then they do really well. They're going to get a better, more enriched experience out of Arya. But our solo users are also having a wonderful time. So you go in, you do this onboarding flow. We find out, you know, the basics. Who are you? What sort of relationship? And then we'll ask you more relationship based questions like, how do you feel in your relationship? Like, do you feel like it's safe to talk about things in your like kinks, sex, all that stuff? Do you feel safe talking? How do you feel like connected with them? So we have these like little circle things. It's like, I feel disconnected, or I feel disconnected, or I feel disconnected. And you kind of decide, you know, where you're at. And then we'll ask, you know, what has brought you to Arya? Are you wanting to just spice things up in the bedroom? Do you want to have more sex? Are you having a phenomenal amount of sex, but you just want to explore more? Do you need more intimate communication? Have you maybe dealt with a pain point that you guys are trying to work through? So that could be anything from like a disability, a chronic illness, a recent surgery, maybe some recent infidelity, and you're really just trying to come to Arya to resolve or figure out ways to have maybe a newer intimacy that's different than you had before, or just, you know, we're here for fun. And so you go through that. You also find out what your erotic persona is. And so we have 4 different erotic persona types. We have a adventurer, you have a director, a connector, and a romantic. So your director is like super physical, let's have sex now, not really into foreplay, very visually stimulated. Your adventurer is going to be the more kink forward ones, kind of up for anything, willing to try new things, and is of course sex focused, but not near as sex focused as that director type. The romantic is the one that's like, let's have these, connective experiences. Let's do an erotic massage. Let's have a date night. Let's have more romance. Let's have more foreplay. And then the connectors, they are the ones who are like, let's have a connective experience. Textures matters to me. Sensations matter to me. Tastes matter to me. My headspace really matters to me. And based off your erotic persona and your partner's erotic persona, we can then curate what your monthly experiences are going to be. And so once we have that information from you, you'll be contacted by the concierge. So everybody gets their own concierge that they can message. And the concierge is the one that's going to be looking at all your stuff and then basically deciding what is going to be the best course for your erotic journey. And so generally we'll give you your first scene. So each scene is like each month. So it's a monthly membership. So each month you get a scene, and they're like an all-encompassing erotic experience. And so let's say you and your partner are like both adventurers and you want to try something new. You have great sex, but you're looking for something different. You may get connected with a scene called Heat. So Heat is all about like temperature play, and a little bit of sensation play. And then there's a little bit of boundary pushing. And so like instantly you get to unlock all that information. We have videos, we have guides, we have conversation starters, we have fantasies. So we even have like erotica that it's all about that experience that you're having. Audio erotica. We have build your own fantasies, where you basically say like, I'm, male, I'm female, I want to be in command, I want to surrender, I want it intimate, I want it erotic, like, and we will then create a fantasy just for what exactly you're looking for, to read and like, get inspiration from. Because I think that's probably the hardest part sometimes is like, okay, I read the guide, like I know how to do, but now I need to be inspired. And that's where the fantasy comes in, is to like inspire you. And then we have playlists curated for each scene. So actually I do the playlist curation. I have found that like music is just so important to me. And if I could have like a theme to every single daily things, like that would make me so happy. Like I need that sort of stimulation. And so we actually have, each experience has its own playlist that is just created for that experience that you're going to be living. And so you get that, you get all the items sent to you. So you'll get actual items. So you've done like, we've had intimacy building activities, you've like read stuff together, you've done fantasies together, you've maybe done a couple of like funny erotic mad libs together, because it's really about like building that connection and like just you two taking time to talk about something that isn't your everyday life.
Yeah.
And so you've done that, and then you get your items like discreetly delivered to your house, and then voila, you get to bring that scene to life. And it's so amazing. And then of course we have like the night of play, where we give you like a breakdown, like if you need like a step-by-step, we have that for you. And then like if you're like, let me just read it, I can do this myself, like we're here for you as well. It's whatever. We span every beginner to like expert. We're gonna be there for you. And then on top of that, you also have your concierge that you get to like message and be like, well, you know, we learned about temperature play, but then they were really interested in bondage during temperature play. Do you have a resource on like how to talk about bondage in our thing? Or temperature play was too much. We actually need to dial back. We need to have more intimate conversations.
Mm.
How can we like build up our intimacy more? Or you've sent us a lot of intimacy things. Now we really want to like spice it up. So like how do we then, and then each month is being customized and curated based off of what you just did, what you felt about it, and what you want to do next. It's the most personalized sex experience that you can have. Um, and I think that's pretty amazing because there's just so much in the world that we use technology for. Like, why wouldn't you use it to make your sex life better?
Yeah, this is all it's sounding pretty good. You got me you got me sold because I am socially awkward. I'm introverted, but deep down, your girl's a freak. And so
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get it. I get it.
how do you
There's a
bring it?
reason why I work from home.
I love it so much. I love it so much. Oh man. Okay, Athena, this has been amazing. I want to thank you. I'm going to read off my little notes. I'm super ADHD, by the way. But I want to thank you for keeping it real and giving us, such practical, no fluff insight. I really take pride on this show being like the no bullshit
Yeah.
self-help podcast. And
Yes.
so I gotta thank you personally for that. Um, and I feel like my audience has those practical steps now so that they can actually deepen their intimacy. Because as you said, intimacy is much more than intercourse. And my mind goes to, oh yeah, intimacy. Like we're not having enough sex, but intimacy is so much deeper than that. It's
Yes.
what I've learned today. So um, and I feel like you've helped us, have some insight on how to bring the heat back, or that spark back, because you're right. It does become like this roommate energy. And it's like, and then you try to plan for it and that falls through, or I don't know, I get in my head a lot about that. Like we're
Yes.
planning it. But I heard from another sex expert on the Mel Robbins podcast, we're always planning for it. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're doing when we date,
Yeah.
planning sex. And I'm like, oh shit,
Yes.
that
And
changed my
sex,
perspective.
planned sex is fine. You can have a planned Thursday night sex date, but find ways to build up to it,
Yeah.
text them, snap a picture of your bed, wear a little sexy or something underneath your clothes that day. Like, arouse yourself a little
Hmm.
bit more instead of, well, every Thursday night we like take 10 minutes and we get it done. Like you can just have so much more fun with it
Yeah.
than sometimes we allow ourselves to have.
Yeah. I'm finding that being playful is
Yes.
is kind of where it's at. And I think back to when my husband and I first met, I was so awkward. I'm still so awkward. I still have a hard time looking him in the eyeballs when we're having sex. I'm just like, don't, because I'm just awkward. I'm weird like that. But so figuring out that it's supposed to be playful and that I can just fucking start laughing in the middle of sex
Yes.
has given me a lot of liberation. And so I like that you're bringing the fun back to it and
Oh
making it
yeah.
playful, which is
Yes.
super important.
Yes.
Um,
And
you go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, I live in this space. I product test so much. I still struggle
Yeah.
with not letting the roommate thing take over. It's so normal, and I just really want people to understand, like, you're not alone in that. And even a person who regularly lets a freak flag fly, like, will still struggle with this. Like
Yeah.
it's something you really have to work for all the time and to keep open, and you're not alone and you can do it. Like I
Well,
I believe in you.
yeah, I believe in you. You got cheerleaders over at Arya, is what it sounds
Yes.
like. Um, well, I hope that everyone listening, this is super empowering, I think, for women especially, but for humans, in
Yes.
general, which sex is not talked about enough, and I just find it
No.
so crazy because I'm like, it's literally how we all got here.
Yes, I
Why is it
know.
so fucking weird? Why are we so weird about this
Why do we think
shit?
it's so weird?
Like, it's the most natural thing ever,
Yes.
and so taking the taboo away is I'm here for it.
Same,
And I think
same.
that people can take a lot away from this episode. Go try it today.
Mhm.
We were joking saying, let's fuck tonight, but go be intimate. Even,
Yes.
if you don't want to have sex, I think that they're going to be able to spice things up. So
Yeah.
we're going to wrap it up, but I'm curious where they can find you. I know they're going to be curious. I'll drop it in the show notes, but where can we find Arya? I know you're on Instagram, but you have a website as well, right?
Yes. So Instagram, obviously, but Arya.fyi, Arya dot FYI. That is our website. And so basically, if you like go to Google and just write Arya FYI, you'll find it. Every day, I think our goal is to beat out Arya Stark. If you
That's
just
just fucking immediately what I thought of when I
Yes.
read the
If you just Google Arya, I think Arya. I never got into Game of Thrones, but Arya Stark is like the number one, and we're like we gotta beat Arya Stark. And so Arya.fyi. We have an amazing Instagram. We have a Facebook group actually. Like so, if you get onto our Instagram, you can find like our private Facebook group where other couples, not just Arya couples, but like all sorts of couples get to like talk openly
Mhm.
and hear from experts a little bit more. Like I get on there and some of our other experts get on there and we'll do like chats and we'll do Q&As and just to kind of just bring it. And then we have like a TikTok, all aria.fyi. So if you go there, that is how you find it.
Well, hell yeah. Go
Yeah.
look them up. Let's beat Arya Stark out with the SEO and Google rankings.
Yes.
And I seriously can't thank you enough. Your hair is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Ta- I know we said something, but I said something about Disney earlier, but you're bringing out my love for Little Mermaid
Uh,
with your hair.
so my coffee mug this morning was my Little Mermaid mug, and then I went to my professional like Pisces mug for
Oh
the
my
chat.
gosh. Professional Pisces. I love it. Well, oh my God, thank you so much. You're incredible. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to dive more into Aria as a company. I know that everybody's going to love all this information, and I strongly encourage everybody go check it out.
Yes, I'll be so happy to help you.
Thank you again for being on Just Women Talking Shit, and I'll catch y'all later.
Thank you.